Welcome back to Straight Facts. I'm joined by the man, Big Steve. How you doing, fella?
Good, mate. I'm good, especially after last night. Buzzing.
I bet you are, mate. And we'll definitely be delving into the Champions League shenanigans. Talk of trebles now really starting to sail across the airways after last night as well. Viewers, make sure you've hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace as well. Any questions you want to send in to Big Steve today, any opinions of his you want to hear, of course, we'll always prioritize our member chats and our super chats as well. You keep the channel going, so feel free to send them in. I wanted to start off with an interesting one today, though, because 3 weeks ago, they pulled out the race, and then the media started to build up the nonsense that Jude was coming. You know, he posted a picture with a number 7 on when they beat Man United 7-0. The Liverpool press yesterday were talking about a decision's going to be made. An approach from Liverpool is coming. And today it's reported that they have called their interest in him and are looking elsewhere. What do you make of this, Steve? Is this Liverpool saying, actually, he's not the player we want? Or have they been rejected by you know, in terms of money, by the player? Do you think they've really walked away willingly from this?
Well, realistically, if you look at Liverpool this season, yeah, it's not an attractive proposition to someone like Jude Bellingham, who's got the pick of any club in Europe he wants to go to. I mean, why would he go there this season? You know what I mean? It doesn't look like the Liverpool of past seasons where, yeah, you could say, look, Liverpool at the minute, they're at the top table. They're looking good. Jude Bellingham adding to Liverpool might take him to the next level. But I think they fell off that far. You know, I think they're disrespecting Bellingham a little bit, thinking that, you know, they were ever in the race for him. So what if he's a Liverpool fan? You know, so what if his dad used to go to Anfield in the fucking 80s? It's not about that. It's about where he's going to next further his career. And I'm sorry, last season, if Liverpool was going for him, then I think they would have got him. But this season, the way City are at the minute, Real Madrid, you know, even Chelsea are paying big money and they got the dollars. I just think Liverpool have let that boat sail. I think they've gone a season too late. I think they've let the squad slip into disarray. And I think they've only got themselves to blame. If they go out now and spend 300 million on 4 or 5 decent players and get that squad back up there, then I think it's been a good move for Liverpool. I think I actually think, I said it, they don't need Jude Bellingham right now. I think that they need a rebuild. I think the money's better spent elsewhere. And I think if they go out and do that, I think Liverpool will be back up there next season where they should be. If they go out and spend 140 million on Bellingham and nobody else, then they could just be in the same situation as they are now. So Liverpool fans, yeah, I know it's all great and the fairy tale Bellingham would be great, but I'm sorry to burst your bubble. Liverpool need more than Jude Bellingham right now.
I think you're right about that 100%. On a serious note, they need 2 or 3 midfield players, and that the FSG are just not going to spend 120, 30, 40, 50 on Jude and then go and buy 2 other players to bolster that midfield. They're not going to do that. But this was always going to happen with Liverpool. And people like me have been saying it for ages. And of course, Liverpool fans get defensive and they want to say, you're only attacking us as a United fan. But your club was never going to buy a Jude Bellingham whilst needing to rebuild, as you all knew that was needed. Maybe last summer, there was a lot of talk from Liverpool fans that Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott were on the level. And maybe if they had progressed and they were now performing like world-level players, then maybe there's the only need to go out there and buy one other individual. But with Fabinho regressing and with those two looking, I mean, Harvey Elliott's more of an attacker, but they play in the midfield roles. With those guys looking distinctly average, of course they've got to rebuild. What I find hilarious is the PR. The PR of, we've called our interest. No, yesterday you made a move and you were just basically told, look, we're not accepting, 100 million. It's going to be much, much more because City, Real Madrid, and maybe Man United are going to come in for him. And we all have bigger, deeper pockets than they do. But I love how they kind of spin it, and there'll be a moral stance on this. Klopp will do an interview and be like, "Listen, yeah, we couldn't moralistically spend 150 million pounds on a player when people can't afford to heat their houses." He will come out with a comment like that, and Liverpool fans will bend over and go, "Oh my God, Klopp, give it to me. We love how socialistic you are." And the simple facts are, your club are being brokies. They're being cheap. Who I'm laughing at today, though, Dom Hussam, who just like he hosted spaces and said 100% guaranteed. I love how he rolls his R's, by the way, that Qatar were buying Liverpool. He guaranteed it. He also guaranteed that Liverpool was signing Jude Bellingham. Also, I've got so many messages every time a news article came out, Steve, linking them to them. The same guy would WhatsApp me every time saying, "Hey Jude," man like Grizz Khan. Every time saying,
"Hey, Grizz Khan, I'm very worried for his mental health at the minute because he's talked that much shit." Have you seen the bet I've got with Grizz Khan on the Big Six about Bellingham?
No, tell me.
I told him Jude Bellingham signed for Man City beginning of the season. He said no. So we've had a bet, and I think he's got to buy me 10 Jude Bellingham kits for me to give out to City fans, kids and shit.
That's about $1,000.
Yeah, well, he's fucked it. He's fucked it because I've let Grizz Khan off with a lot of bets me over the years where he gives me the sob story, but the sob story ain't there no more. You know, he's been tweeting it, he's been pushing it, and he's full of shit, man.
But he very rarely messages me. He just always messages me, "Hey Jude, hey Jude, hey Jude." Well, again, he messages quite a lot on WhatsApp. Like, but it's "Hey Jude, hey Jude, hey Jude, hey Jude, hey Jude." He also told me another transfer story the other day. I'm not going to reveal it because he's obviously got sources, but there's a Chelsea midfield player that has reportedly agreed terms with Chelsea with Liverpool.
Yeah, he sent me the same one, Mason Mount.
He sent you as well. Yeah, we'll see, Grizz. But I love it because listen.
He said, by the way, he said Mbappe was signing for Liverpool. Remember that one? He said that one as well.
Yeah. No,
you know, he was talking about Haaland a bit, but you know, I soon shut him down with that one. But listen, he's in the mud right now. He's on the Big Six the other night, getting a bit rattled. He's getting a bit. You know, he's gone from the quad to the bog. At the end of the day, he's finished, man.
He had to apologize to Sav. Sav obviously did a great job on the big. It was a great show the other night on the Big Six. I watched it. Sav, who did the same night, did the top six with us. He went at him. He then had to do a Will Smith and issue an apology. Do you know what I'm saying? He came out and issued an apology. Yeah, Grizz, I hope you're well. I hope you're well, bro. I hope you're good. But yeah, no Jude. Rather than hey Jude.
I think the Liverpool fans have just got to be realistic. They've just got to be realistic. You can't paper over the problems at Liverpool. We've seen it, yeah? And you're not in the title race. You're not in the Champions League. You know, FA Cup, anything like that. It's been one of them seasons. So in Fairyland, it's great. Bellingham comes and everything's great and you sail off into the sunset and it's a great match and you're back in it. You're not. We all know that now. There's players there that shouldn't be there. There's a big job. Jurgen's got a big job. And I don't think Jurgen is not a sensible guy. I think he knows. I think he loves Liverpool and I think he knows what he needs to do. So if they've said to him, look, you've got 200 mil, you can't spend 130 of it on Jude. I'm sorry, you can't. So Mason Mount, free transfer, what they're talking about seems a little bit more realistic. You know, there's players out there, Tielemans, free transfer. You know, I think they've got to shop smart this summer. And I think any Liverpool fan, you know, you can get upset all you want. But when you actually, if you love the club, look at what they're doing and you've got to shop smart, man. Bellingham's out of the question.
Yeah, I mean, they absolutely have to be, as you say, smart. That they've just got it wrong, Liverpool. And they should have gone for Bellingham in the summer when he was slightly cheaper, or another very good midfield player in the summer. And they're linked to some really good people, the likes of Nunes. They're linked to Mateus Nunes. He looks very good. Caicedo. They've today been linked to Declan Rice.
Too much money.
But these are all eight. Bruv, these are all, but maybe barring Mateus Nunes, these are all 85 to 120 million pound players. And the fact that Liverpool and Newcastle have now joined the race for Declan Rice. If Man United's takeover goes through, and I did see a comment from a salty fan a minute ago saying, but I thought Qatar would buy Man United. They're still the favourites too. Third round of bidding will be in by the end of this month. It's always going to take many, many months to get that done. If United have new owners as well, they're in the mix, which means there's a bidding war. And if there's a bidding war between 2 or 3 clubs, Liverpool are being priced out. And this is why I've been calling for Liverpool fans. I don't care if they fail. I'm a Man United fan. But I do care how billionaire owners treat their fans. And yes, there's a lot of speculation surrounding City and how you've generated your money. The one thing you can never question City's owners about is how they treat your fans and how they treat your local community. When you look at FSG, Liverpool fans themselves have protested against multiple things they've tried to do, copyrighting the word Liverpool, increasing prices, the furloughs. The way they behave is atrocious. But the way they lie to Liverpool fans. I remember back in 2019 when they spoke about the new Nike deal and how they were going to earn a big 25% commission on every piece of Liverpool branded Nike merchandise. It was going to change the game financially for them. They expanded the stadium. It means more money, all going to be spent on players. And now, whenever they have to compete for another club with a player, they essentially pull away, but they always pull that weird left-wing socialistic stance of it's irresponsible to behave like this. You're owned by billionaires who have made their money a certain way. Don't stand there and take no moral high ground. Liverpool fans have got to stand up against this because they are not going to be catching City or Arsenal. They're not going to keep up with Man United unless they go out and spend money. You know, when they came up on the KLOPP, you guys were great, but all the other clubs were flagging. If Man United have new owners, the direction Arsenal are going in, Newcastle's new owners, they're just not. They'll be able to compete and they'll be in the top 4 races, but they're not going to be winning major trophies anytime soon. So yeah, big summer ahead for them because they're in huge trouble. But do you think they have to look beyond Jurgen Klopp though? I know we spoke about this before, but they smashed Man United. Everybody thought maybe they'll turn a corner. I mean, they've been, barring that second half against Arsenal, they have been rank average since. And is that just players, or do you feel as though maybe they've had enough of playing for him?
No, I think who's out there though? You know, who's out there? If Liverpool you want to get rid of Jurgen Klopp, who's out there? No one. You look at Roy Hodgson's gone back to Palace, right? Dean Smith's gone to Leicester. From Brendan Rodgers to Dean Smith, you know. So I'm not being funny. Who's out there? Okay, Nagelsmann. All right, but that's a risk. I just think people listen. In the great world, I'd love Jurgen Klopp to fuck off because he done me head in for years, and I think he's a great manager. But that's only me being a rival. But if I'm being honest, and if I was looking from outside in, I'm thinking worst thing they can ever do, get rid of Jurgen Klopp. He gets the fans, he gets the club, and yeah, he's going through a bad patch at the minute. They're up and down, but who else would you want to rebuild your squad than Jurgen Klopp? It can't always be good. It's like City. We've had seasons where we haven't done out with Pep and people outside, oh, get rid of him now, he's finished and all that. No, he's not finished. The best managers are never finished. They just adapt and overcome and go again. And I think Jurgen will do that. But the thing is with City's board, we back him. So if he says, I want him and him and him, we go and get them. With Jurgen, it's different. He's under a bit of tighter control, constraint. So it'd be interesting to see how he copes in the summer for me. This is a key part. I think he's got to play that transfer market so well. They cannot afford a mistake. They can't afford a 40, 50 million pound mistake. They just can't. So I'm all for Jurgen staying. I think he's good for the Premier League. He's good for Liverpool. He's a good manager. And like I say, there's no one out there to replace him.
The only one I can think of is Luis Enrique, and who's of that level and experience.
Gamble though, isn't it? It's a gamble.
It is a gamble. You're absolutely right about that.
And he's going to want ball playing players, possession based players to create his system. How much is that going to cost? Well, 7, 8 of them that he's got there now, I can't do that. So
yeah, you're absolutely right. No,
he tried to play Trent. Klopp tried to play Trent in the John Stones inverted fullback role the other day. Did you see it? See how much of a fucking mess that was? And all these people say, oh, yeah, Pep Guardiola, he can do anything. Well, he turned John Stones into a midfielder, and he's turned Nathan Ake into an absolute class left-back, like he turned Fabian Delph into a Centurion left-back. But anyone can do it with Doe.
There we go. Viewers, make sure you're hitting that like button for us now. Let's get this up to let's get up to 500 likes while we're live on the air, please, people. Bad news for Man United today, though. Marcus Rashford ruled out for a few games. The manager's smiling when he says that. I'm hoping it's only 1 or 2. Do you think Man United can cope against Sevilla without Rashford scoring goals?
Yeah, Sevilla's not a good side, mate. We played in the Champions League away. We beat them 4-0, I think. They're not a good side. United should overcome that with what they've got. I know Rashford is having a great season. He's going to be a big miss. But with what Man United have got, and you look at the team, Martial needs to step up. Do you know what I mean? People like Anthony need to come step up. Sancho. They'll have them. But that Europa League's not a strong competition. It's not. It's United should win it. But I don't know. Rashford's had a great season, so hopefully we had a dilemma last week with Haaland. He got a groin strain. So do we risk him against Liverpool, or do we let him have another week? If we lose against Liverpool, we're out of the title race. So we went with Alvarez in the 9, and we got through it. You just got to adapt, man. Seville, innit? It is what it is, but I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, look, I agree. You said, I know we haven't gone to City yet. You said to me backstage, you watch City, you know City. I'm like that with Man United. There's a part I don't want Rashford out because he's one of our best players, one of the best players in Europe. But there's a part of me that is quite excited about us beating Sevilla, which I think we will, especially in the first leg. I think we'll beat Forest at the weekend. I knew we'd bounce back after the Newcastle defeat. We were awful in that game, but with back-to-back wins. And we were quite comfortable in both those games against Brentford and against Everton at the weekend. We do need more clinical edge. We need to put the ball in the back of the net more. But I'm quite excited about the idea of, again, proving doubters wrong. I think without Rashford, we'll score some goals. We'll win games. Just this whole Rashford FC stuff is nonsense. We're 1 minute we're Casemiro FC. The next minute we're Rashford FC. The next minute we're, VAR FC. No, that's just bitterness because people can see Man United improving. So, yeah, I'm not overly fussed, and I'm not really that worried about Sevilla. Where are they even in their league? I haven't even checked. Just to get
they're not having a good season, to be fair.
No, I don't think they are. Like someone said that to me the other day. They're not doing particularly well. Where are they sitting right now? They're 13th. They've won 8 games in the league all year. Yeah,
that's what I'm telling you about the Europa League, isn't it? It's fucking shite,
mate. This is the thing with who's remaining in the Europa League now. I would be disappointed if Man United don't get to the final. Finals are always weird games because anything can happen in a final. But I look at the remaining teams in this now. Feyenoord and Roma. Roma are decent, but we should be beating them. Leverkusen and Union Saint. Was it Chicken Goujon? I don't even know their names. Juve are in it. They're not a bad side. Sporting Lisbon are in it. United are the best. For me, United are the best team left in it. We should be getting to the final. We should be winning it. So yeah, I'm not like phased with Rashford being out. And I know a lot of people are panicking online, but I don't really understand the panic. I think we'll score. I think other people will step up. I don't think Weghorst will score, by the way. A lot of people are asking if he will, but I think if Martial's fit, will score some goals. Like, he's a good player. He just can't stay fit. So they scored. You guys smashed us, but he scored 2 against you from the bench when he came on. Like, he can score goals. So yeah, I'm not overly worried. Someone here says Sevilla's season is all about the Europa League.
It is, isn't it? They do well in that competition, but I can't
That's
see
true.
it.
Well, they're going to throw all their eggs into that basket, but
you got to watch Roma, man, because Mourinho, you know what I mean? He's got that little point to prove as well against United. You get them in a final, it could be like...
Yeah, no, I agree. I'd love Roma to go out because that storyline would be difficult. They would stink the place out, especially in a final. So over 2 legs, we beat them, I think. It's that final where they'd sit in, they'd make it hard, and you just know a Jose team could catch you on the break. But the rest of them, I mean, Sporting Lisbon, they did well against Arsenal, but Arsenal, I don't understand how Arsenal couldn't step up for that game, because Sporting Lisbon, the quality Arsenal have shown in the Premier League this year, which is harder than the Europa League in terms of the overall quality. It just, in Europe, Arsenal just seemed to have some kind of mental block at times, and they couldn't get through that game. Sevilla will get past. Bayern Leverkusen, again, I'm not worried about that level of German side at the minute. I think United will do it, and who knows? Maybe a Manchester double in Europe, mate. Maybe a Manchester double in Europe.
Well, you never know.
I know yours is a better trophy, by the way. But
it won't be. No, it won't be. If you win that and we win that, it won't be. They'll spin it somehow to be in. Is what it is.
I always remember when we won our 19th league title. I was at the game. Wayne Rooney penalty against Blackburn, away from home, and the draw sealed the title. And like 3 hours later, you guys kicked off for the FA Cup final. It was your first trophy in 30 odd years. And yeah. Even though I was a United fan, I remember saying at the time to my brother, it's a bit out of order, isn't it? That how they had Man United playing on the same. I don't think any Premier League game should take place on Cup final day, because it should always be about the Cup final. And it just, us matching Liverpool's 19 just overshadowed the back pages. And I was like, oh, that's a little bit harsh, isn't it? But there's no way we can do it.
We didn't care, man. In Manchester, we didn't care. We were all at Wembley, man. There was no one in Manchester. We were just buzzing. Yeah, Torre. So it was great. It was mad. We were used to you winning leagues, but you weren't used to us winning anything. So it was a bit like, fucking hell.
The banner at the
banner now. Look where we've gone from there.
I know, but that's why this year, legitimately, I'm so I'm genuinely weirded out by Man United fans who are backing City to stop Arsenal winning the league, celebrating you winning and Arsenal dropping points. Because a few have
You know
said,
when
well,
you do that though? Do you know when
oh,
you do that? That's because you act like you don't want that to happen because you play it down like they all do. Manchester City are irrelevant. Manchester City don't mean anything. If City win the league, it doesn't mean anything. But they're all talking about us, and they're all deep down thinking, "Shit! If they win that, they've done the 3P, and there's a possible treble on the line." So, any United fan that says they don't give a shit, he's just scared. I'd rather him come out and go, fucking hell, like you did, and said, I don't want City to win the league and I don't want him to do that. And then I respect that. But at the end of the day, we don't know what's going to happen. Like, we're playing really well at the minute. Like I say, we're fantastic. And we're taking every... No one at Man City's talking about trebles and that. Don't talk about that nonsense. I told you before. We take every game.
No, Gallagher did last night on Talk.
I heard him on TalkSport, but they forced him into it, didn't they? But listen, Noel Gallagher didn't even see us win the league against QPR. He was in Chile, and apparently for the Champions League final, he's in San Diego. So, listen, you know which flag I'm nailing to the mast. There's only one Gallagher brother for me that's worth his salt, and that's Liam.
Mate,
Noel's...
I just want Oasis to get back together. Just one more album for us.
That's why I don't like Noel, because he keeps saying Liam pick the phone up and that, but maybe he needs to pick the phone up as well.
No, I don't know what's going to be the bigger comeback, Oasis or One Direction. I'm really excited for both. Really,
you're showing your true colours here now. One Direction.
Do you know what? I'm not really a fan of their music, but it's weird. They did the X Factor, and I'm like, I watched it on TV because the missus was watching it. And then like 2 years later, they were back on the X Factor show. And it was like they did all these number ones in America. And I was like, I was quite proud of them for breaking America because most of our bands don't, to be fair. But Oasis did well in America. Oasis did well in America. They did. Terry said yesterday, if City win the Champions League, they're one of the greatest Champions League teams just with one Champions League trophy. But Maradon the moron, it rhymes. That's not what I said. I said if they win the Champions League and add it to all their trophies in the last 7 years, they're one of Europe's great sides. They're a European great. The Premier League's in Europe. England and the English competitions are in Europe. Champions League is in Europe. You add that body of work together, they're one of Europe's greatest ever sides. I didn't say they're one of the Champions League greats. Again, you're twisting my words to suit your narrative. And that's what I think the viewers are going to change your name to now, not Maradon. It's going to be Maradon the moron, because you never listen to anything that said. You twist the words. I didn't say that. You've just done yourself, brother. Gareth, that isn't what I said. I said a European great. I didn't say one of the Champions League greats. And when you're one of the best, if you're one of the best teams in the Premier League for a decade, you're a massive European team because the Premier League is the biggest league in Europe, the biggest league in the world. They're dominating it. You're there. What I think you need to have to go into a consideration of European great, that is winning the European trophy. So again, you guys, so that's why you were all confused yesterday. You confuse a European great with Champions League football. I get why some of you were confused yesterday, especially Maradon the moron. 100%, I get it now. But yeah, I don't want you guys winning no treble. I don't want you guys winning the Premier League and doing a three-peat. A lot of Arsenal United fans were like, it's nothing to do with caring about City. It's just I grew up in London. I know more Arsenal fans. It would hurt me more. And my take all week, Steve, has just been, I care more about my club than I do banter. I care more about my club. I've got brothers that are Liverpool fans, Arsenal fans, a couple of Orient as well. I've got a lot of brothers. You know, I've got a lot of friends around me that are Gooners. I live with a Gooner. I couldn't care less about their partying and celebrating. If you, man, do a treble or the lesser record you could break this year, if you do a treble, you do both. That's do a three-peat with the opportunity of doing a four-peat, which means you could potentially surpass a massive record that we've got. And also an opportunity that you could be crowned the greatest Premier League team of all time. That hurts me far more than watching Gooners celebrate. I honestly don't understand. I honestly don't understand the logic of those United fans. So yeah, I'm rooting for Arsenal every single step of the way. But you lot looked very, very good last night, mate. You looked astounding, to be honest.
Brilliant, mate. Listen, said it a few weeks ago, and certain people said I was arrogant, but I didn't. I said I'm confident. You know, there's a difference. If you know your side and you go every week, you know. And early in the season, when we had that blip around the Forest game, I said I'm not quite getting this feeling, Terry, in my chest where I know that they're up for it. And then it all clicked into gear. A few little things happened. The Premier League charges got announced. Pep came out in that press conference, defended the club, unbelievable. Cancelo spat his dummy out and fucked off. And then all of a sudden, he decided he was playing this new system. John Stones at the right back inverted. He tried it with Kyle, didn't work. Haaland, we finally started getting the balls into him. He started to relax a little bit more, didn't have to do them crazy runs. And it all just seemed to kick into gear. And you look at the last few games, you've 7-0 against Leipzig. You've got 6 against Burnley. You've got 4 against Liverpool. You've got 4 against Southampton. You've got 3 against Bayern Munich. Now, we're on a great run at the minute. And people don't want to hear this. And they talk about European, and Man City's never won a Champions League, and Manchester City haven't got the heritage and all that. But Manchester City are creating their heritage. We've been to, 3 semi-finals. We've been to a final. We've beat Real Madrid. We've beat Paris Saint-Germain. We've beat Bayern Munich before. So it's not like we're a bunch of dickheads that's just rocked up and we haven't had any of these memorable nights that people talk about. We've actually had a lot of memorable nights at this Etihad Stadium. I think we're 27 undefeated there in Europe. So there's no team in Europe wants to play us at the minute. And what we did last night was, you've seen a disciplined performance against a very good Bayern Munich side who had chances and they had tremendous pace and they thought they could get at us. But instead of City losing their head like they've done over the years and going gung-ho and getting caught at the back like we did against Real Madrid when we should have been 6 or 7 up, no disrespect, we should have been, and we let them back in it. We opened the door and went to the Bernabeu 4-3 and got knocked out. We put them to the sword. And the difference is we got this guy up front, this Norwegian, who's a monster. And the guy is ruthless. And at the end of the day, if a chance comes his way, he's taking it. And last night, he done it again. He assisted and he scored. Bernardo Silva, he tore that their fullback, Davis, apart. He was nutmegging him, flicking it back round him. He was going all over the place. You got Nathan Ake, who they said, why are you signing Nathan Ake? He got relegated at Bournemouth. Look at him. Look what Pep's done to him. John Stones, Ruben Diaz. And listen, when I say it, Terry, there's a buzz around this football club at the minute on and off the pitch. The fans, the players, the manager, there's a buzz around it. And at the minute, we're in a tough title charge with Arsenal. A really good Arsenal team that deserve to be where they be. But they've let us in. I said, if you slip or leave the door open, we're coming in. And they've let us in a bit. So now they've put it in our hands as well as their hands. So it's 50-50 with that. We've got Sheffield United in the FA Cup. We've got to deal with that. And we're 3-0 up going to Bayern Munich. So we're not in a bad position, Terry, from where we are. You know what I mean? We're doing well.
No, mate, you're in tremendous form at the minute. I said on a video this morning that if you had been playing like this for larger parts of the season, I'm just talking with hindsight here, I wouldn't have been backing Arsenal. It isn't just the wins or the points, it's the nature of the performance that you review. And most football fans, when they do predictions, the results are obviously part of it, but it's the performance that people really hone in on. You guys look as though you're enjoying every second of football you're playing. There's a relentless, emphatic nature when you're on the football pitch. And I think for me, there is no sign of fatigue, worry, concern. The fans are relaxed. And when fan bases are relaxed, it will always reflect on the football pitch. Every single time it will reflect on the football pitch because...
Terry, you do this for a living. When you ever see Man City fans rattled, they say I'm rattled when I'm talking angry, but I talk angry every day of the day. If I ask someone to go and get me a brew, I say it angry. If I ask someone to go and get me some dinner, I say it angry. So that's not, you can't judge it on me. What I'm saying is the City fan base at the minute is unique in the fact that we're just calm. There's no pit of hell in this Champions League you can drag me down that didn't hurt more than Real Madrid last season. And there's no title race rabbit hole you can drag me down, which I haven't been down before. So when you've got that mentality as a club and as a fan base, you're dangerous. And people say, they've been taking the piss saying, I always say, it is what it is. But you know that people that say it is what it is are dangerous people because nothing phases them, because it is what it is. You know, it is. It's written in the stars. Get on with it. Put it out. Let's go. I've dealt with it. Real Madrid, Chelsea in the final. I've dealt with it. But all I know is that our day's coming, isn't it? Our day's coming. We're taking them steps in the right direction, and people need to watch.
Mate, they certainly do. And I think that's why Man United fans playing down what you're doing and desperate for Arsenal to lose. And listen, I understand that me wanting Arsenal to beat you to the league title. Of course, I want us to stop you in the FA Cup. and I want anyone to stop you in the Champions League. Part of it is there's obviously a local rivalry between the two clubs that really set alight when I moved to Manchester. And I've told you this story before, but I think I've told you this before. I was selling phones in Stockport in the shopping centre they have there, in the Phones for You when it existed. And I'm telling people this now: 90% of City fans would not buy a contract on Vodafone because at the time they were sponsors of Man United, and that was when it was a weird thing to see, but that was when I really realised, Jesus Christ. Different from London rivalries. Spurs fans would have owned a JVC sound system. They wouldn't have cared, as an example. Like, there was definitely Londoners that supported Chelsea or Spurs who wore Dr. Martens boots. They didn't stop wearing them because West Ham was sponsored by them. But, or drink, I guarantee you multiple fan bases around the world drank Carlsberg when they were the sponsors of Liverpool. But in Manchester, I saw this and was like, they won't even buy phones on Vodafone because of how much they despise United. So there's that element of it. The other side is, I can't celebrate you guys winning something to banter Arsenal with when you are closing in on Man United records. Now, you're not close yet to 20 league titles, but you win the Premier League this year. Is that how many Prems will that be for you? 7?
7, yeah.
That's 7. It's only 6 behind Man United's 13. And you'll blink and another 4 or 5 years go past. And if we don't get round to winning one and you, man, pick up another 2 or 3, suddenly you're on 9 or 10. We're on 13. You're closing in on a legacy of Sir Alex Ferguson. So celebrating the fact that a team with the resources and power and manager you have, celebrating you winning anything in the face of banter of Arsenal fans, it honestly, I get their logic. I understand where they're coming from. But for me, City, I need City to start losing because, as I say, because of your power, your resource, and your manager, who looks like he's not leaving anytime soon. Most of us thought he'll do 3 or 4 years and be gone. Right now, barring managing Spain, I don't understand where Pep Guardiola goes, where he's going to get as much money.
He won't manage Spain because he's Catalan, so
right.
He's already
there we go. But outside of that, I don't see what other club in the world he can go to.
Do you know why it is, though, Terry? Do you know why it is? Tell me another football club in the world, right, where he's got no pressure, not off the fans, got pressure off the press and the media, but he doesn't care about that. And the fans love him, and they've made it that good of a football club for him, and they've made everything available to him. Everything he wanted, every change he wanted, from the under-9s to the under-16s, all playing the same way. He's got his own men in there from Barcelona. Man City have done everything to keep him. Because I said this years ago, yeah? What's the most important thing in a football club, a star player or a manager? And it's the manager. Because I tell you what, teams are going to start buying managers. I'm telling you now, teams will buy managers soon, because I'm not being funny. You can go out there and take a gamble on a manager. He could come in your club. You could give him 200 million of your money. He could blow it all up the wall and you sack him. But if you get a Pep Guardiola or someone like that and you pay 100 million for him, are you going to trust him to spend your money wisely? Of course you are. So at the end of the day, I see an era where managers are going to have contracts on their heads like players. And I think big teams will just go and cherry pick managers, but it'll be harder to do it because the manager's the most important thing. Look at Chelsea now. They're in a rabbit hole. Look what they're doing. Okay, Frank Lampard. Do you know what I mean? Mate, what the fuck's that about?
What, mate? There's a lot of Chelsea fans online who I respect. I've seen the likes, though, of Rory Jennings, man like Carefree Lewis that comes on the terrace. These guys, I'm so glad he's back. He'll get us playing. He understands the club. Bruv, he got sacked because his man management was terrible and he lost the dressing room, and they're celebrating him coming back. They look I honestly felt, and they might still get it right, but the more decisions that go on at that club, the more I think Todd Boehly.
Look at the players that have been brought in, right? Look at the players that have been brought in. The Bon Potter players, they got signed, he came in. He never got a chance, right? He had never had a chance in hell to succeed at Chelsea because they're not going to give him the time. And the chairman, look at the decisions they're making around the place. It's just mismatch. And all of a sudden, Frank's back. He's been there before. He was shit. He's not going to do it again. Now, the next manager that comes in, they're going to pay X amount of million to get him in. He's going to walk through that door and go, I don't want him. I don't want him. I don't want him. I don't want him. I need him. Another 500 million pound. It's just, where's it end with him? Listen, you can call Roman Abramovich, for whatever you want. But when Roman was running it, it was run ruthlessly and right. And at the end of the day, this guy is fucking clueless. I'd be very worried for my football club if this guy... It's all right, the modern fans, oh, we spent 600 million, we've got João Felix and we got this, yeah, but look at the fucking state of your club. Look at your state of your club. Long term, it's not sustainable. You don't know where you're going. You've got no direction. It's like a ship floating across the sea. Where the fuck are you going? There's no end place. No one knows where you're going. And now Frank's back to save you.
Mate, they need to get this managerial appointment right, because if this next one is wrong, there could be serious problems, both financially, because as much as they're going to increase income, that's going to come over time. With the length of contracts they're giving these players, with how much money it's cost to get in and get rid of Graham Potter and Tuchel, what it's going to cost to bring in a new manager, they have to get it right. I mean, this comment here from the Joker says, Lampard got top 4 with the transfer ban. He did. But we saw what happened. He dwindled from that point. And go back and just read the stories and the reports that came out after he went away. Communication and dressing room issues was the problem. And right now, with a 35-man squad, this Chelsea team needs galvanizing. And the reason that I personally don't believe, I know that Chelsea fans are going to believe it because they want to back their club and protect their club against in the media. I get it. But this kind of notion that, I want to say this in the right way, this notion that no manager wants to join now, I think is ridiculous. I think a manager wants to get in now so that he has 2 months of real-time, real football to go, right, of these 35 players, these 12, 15, whatever amount have to go. The attitude, behavior, work ethic, X, Y, and Z, dietary issues have got to go. He comes in pre-season, he's going to have a very short window to see who he does and doesn't like. They're going to have to still get rid of 10 to 15 people. But how do you know in that period whether or not they're going to get rid of some of the wrong people and get rid of some of the right people that should stay and keep people that should really be going? They need to bring a manager in now. It appears they have no plan of the style of football they want to play, because they're talking about Jose and Conte, along with Luis Enrique and Nagelsmann. The clash there of ideologies is chalk and cheese. And then what players do they need or not? Like, there's a real mess there right now. And again, I feel sorry for some of the fans, because I care about how these billionaire owners treat the working classes that support our football club. But at the same time, football fans have got to do themselves a favor and stop drinking the Kool-Aid, stop buying into the PR. Employing Frank Lampard is disastrous. It's absolutely disastrous. If that dressing room's in trouble now, it will be worse in 2 months, meaning the new manager is going to have an even bigger job. If you're going to bring in an interim, go and find an elite world-class manager that might have retired and offer him a large amount of money to come back. Go find if Gus Hiddink wants to step off the beach and get back into the dressing room. Someone like that, not Frank Lampard. Honestly, Big Sam would have been a much better appointment. Because the one thing about Big Sam, even some of the elite players that have played for him, they'll say tactics aren't great, but everyone loved him. At least he gets the dressing room in a good mood. Big Sam's a better appointment than Frank Lampard, in my opinion. They're in trouble.
Frank's too emotional. Look what he did at Everton. Yeah, he had his chance there. Couldn't deal with it. Couldn't deal with the pressure. He can't deal with egos. You know, the younger players respected him. The Chelsea young ones, Mason Mount, all the boys, Reece James and that, they loved him. Yeah. The older ones, they threw him under the bus. They don't want to know. There's a lot of them there that are willing to just throw him under the bus. He's the scapegoat. He's gone in there because he loves Chelsea. He's not thought about it. He's not thought about his own career and thought, you know what, I'm not going back there because it could damage my future managerial career. He's jumped in thinking he's the saviour of Chelsea because he loves Chelsea, and it's all going to backfire, and he's fucked himself, to be honest.
Mate, he has. And I think the guy's just got to go to a lower level, earn these stripes, do what Rooney's doing, out the limelight, learning how to be a manager with nobody watching you. What Arteta is doing, and he hasn't won anything other than the FA Cup yet, but he may go on to win more. What Zidane and what Pep have done, I don't. There might be a number of other examples, but to go into your first managerial job and be one of the best in the world, manage a massive football club straight away is hard. I know Lampard had 1 year of experience, but earn your stripes. Gerrard came to the Prem far too early. People want Michael Carrick to get a massive job, Vincent Kompany to get massive jobs. Stay where you are. Learn your trade. Stop. Players do this. I think João Felix, looking at him now, he left Benfica too early. Renato Sanchez joined Bayern Munich far too early. Sometimes it's just like, learn your game, stay almost, you know, we say about our kids, like, don't grow up too quickly. It's a little bit like that for managers in your careers. Like, don't bite off more than you can chew too soon. And I think that's what's happened to Lampard. Do you feel like, how do you think they'll do tonight against Real Madrid?
You can only see Real Madrid winning it, can't you? To be honest, you can't. You know, they lost to Wolves at weekend. No disrespect, they're not looking great. The Liverpool game at home was poor. I don't know. Some magical Chelsea fairy tale might occur where they go and do it, but I can't see it. I just can't see it.
Yeah. If they get a result, if they knock out Real Madrid, obviously what I've just sat there and said about Lampard will definitely come back to haunt me. I can't see it in a month of Sundays. I really can't.
No,
And if they get through to the next round, who they play? Is it you lot?
Yeah.
And not beating you over 2 legs.
Nah, listen, fucking, I thought that in the Champions League final, but they did. But they're not. They just listen.
They've regressed since then, though. They were a much better team 2-3 years ago than they are now. They've gone so far backwards, this Chelsea team. It's unbelievable to think a team that from 2004 until 2016, 2017 consistently competed or won league titles. And look, my club's fallen off. We know they have, but we're not talking about them. They've not been in a title race now, is it, for 6 years? And they've been nowhere near one. The regression in Chelsea is ridiculous. It really is.
Yeah, it just looks a mess to me there. But like you say, it is what it is. We'll see. He's took the job now, Frank. He's there. You know, I don't dislike the guy. I just think he's out of his depth. He's playing Real Madrid tonight in the Bernabeu. Doesn't get much tougher than that after getting beat off Wolves. So, yeah, we'll see. I'm looking forward to the game, to be honest. I'm going to go home and relax and watch that tonight and see what happens.
Nice. Joshua Jack here says Bowley did predict 3-0 tonight. He said, no way. He said, sorry, I'm Josh. I know you super chat a lot. I'm called. No way he did that. I'm gonna have to Google that. He predicted a 3-0 win. Nah, you're lying. I think yeah. Oh, hang on. No, he does. He did.
No.
He did. He says headline here says Todd Bowley makes shock Real Madrid versus Chelsea Champions League score prediction amid faith claim. Where does he say? I'm looking for his actual words. Hang on. Yes. Chelsea co-owner Todd Bowley has backed his side to beat Real Madrid by a comfortable scoreline at the Santiago Bernabeu on Wednesday night ahead of their 2-legged tie. Blah, 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 blah. We understand the strength of Real Madrid, their qualities in possession and individual talent. The former midfielder turned manager, blah, 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 blah. Let's scroll down. Right. There's some interest in this and that and the other. Right, I want to get to the prediction bit. Oh, shit my pants. He says here, Chelsea are going to win 3-0. The American businessman was then pushed further on the game, to which he put a clear message. I say, have a lot of faith, and we are going to win 3-0 tonight. He said that. Oh, my God.
Well, just even an owner coming out and saying that it's just not what you do, is it? And like you say, he's put pressure on himself there. He's put pressure on his manager, and yeah, whatever. It's fucking draining, isn't it? We'll see.
That is, I mean, you just want your owners. One of my biggest issues with, he wasn't an owner, but he worked on their behalf. One of my biggest issues with Ed Woodward is that we shouldn't have known who his fucking name was. These people should be so silent and quiet in the background. Like Sheikh Mansour is your owner, but you never hear anything from him about football. He ain't sitting there on Twitter saying, yeah, we'll smash Bayern Munich tonight. He keeps his mouth shut, which is what he's meant to do. You let the manager talk. I wouldn't even want my manager or players predicting wins. It's like you're tempting fate. That is just horrendous. Chelsea fans must be so embarrassed by him. They must be so embarrassed.
Bad, man. It's bad, that.
It's crazy, but yeah. Oh, you're going to hunt down Arsenal now?
Well, listen, I've said exactly what I said from the beginning. That what we were going to do. We're going to do our thing. They're going to do their thing. Don't slip. Because if you do, then don't expect us not to be on your case. And they had a wobble, you know. Great first half. 2-0 up at Anfield. Played fantastic. Second half, nightmare. should have got beat, hung on for the draw. They're going to spin it 1 point gained. It's not 1 point gain though, is it? Because it's 2 points lost because you were 2-0 up. And the fact is, whether you like it or not, you've now opened the door, because before that game, it wasn't in our hands. You still had the lead, whether we beat you at the Etihad or not. The fact is now it is in our hands. So if we win every game, we've won the league. So game on.
That was a narrative a lot of people said after the game. 1 point gain, would have taken it before
Only they did. Only they did. When you're in a title race and you need to win every game because you've got City on your neck, you need to win every game. You can't drop points. Not when you're 2-0 up. We did it last year. We were 2-0 down at West Ham and came back and drew 2-2. That's a point gained because you were 2-0 down. You're out of it. You wasn't winning. We was half time. I'd have took a point because we were getting beat. At half time, they wouldn't have took a point. If you'd have offered them a point at half time at 2-0 up, would they have took it? No, because they were 2-0 up. They thought they were going to win. So that's the difference. So they can spin it how they want, but the fact is they dropped points. They've opened the door. Game on.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of interesting takes from Gooners this week. Some getting angry at any Gooner that criticised the individual game and the poor second half, bad substitutions. Some completely thrown in the towel. Some very prominent Gooners online as well, the likes of Curtis Shaw, title over, title done. Why do you think there's so many throwing in the towel and so much infighting again after just dropping, as they would say, a couple of points?
Listen, not all Arsenal fans are like that. You know, I said that before, and they said, "Oh, well, you must know different Arsenal fans." I'm just going off the online ones I know, the AFTV boys and that. That I don't want to judge the whole fan base on them because I understand it's not them. But the thing is with them, it's the first season in a title race for a long time, and they're bound to get a bit wobbly if it doesn't go their way. That's natural. It happened to us in our first season. We probably did the same. But the difference is now we've been in a few of these. We're calm, relaxed. I keep telling you, we're going to do our thing. And they're going to do their thing. It's 50-50 now. Right down the middle, 50-50. You know, they deserve to be where they are. I'm not having this narrative where people say, oh, people dropped off. You've got to look at the points total and what they've done. It's unbelievable. But if they thought they were just going to steam it and City wasn't going to come back late, which we always do, which I try to say, it's not like I'm trying to tempt it. Some guy said to me, I like your fake confidence. Now, you know me, every single season in this time of the year, I tell you what we're going to do. And I'm saying the same. And all I'm saying is it's 50-50, game on. I prayed for points to be dropped at weekend to just let us see that little bit of the prize. And it happened. Could have been a lot worse, yeah. But happy days with it. 2 dropped in our hands.
Yeah, I mean, again, the mixture of mood. Again, when I look at City fans, you're all pretty much unified in we're hunting you down. We're really confident. We know we can do it. Arsenal's are a lot more mixed. I know Don Robbie, we're still going to win it. Ironically, he got a lot of stick for criticizing the substitutions of Arteta yesterday. But Lee Gunner, though, ended it with, but I still believe we're going to win it. I'm just criticizing this individual game. There are some like Curtis Shaw, straight away, boom, it's done, it's over, it's finished. But I'm noticing a lot more infighting amongst Arsenal fans than with City. There's almost you guys are pretty much universally aligned with one another, barring a handful of opinions, where Arsenal fans are really sort of, some of them are getting at each other's throats, don't criticize. Others acting like they're not bothered they threw away a 2-0 lead. And for me, that's a real telltale sign of pressure within a fan base, because you should just be angry. I know this weekend, if you're 2-0 up against anyone and you draw 2-2, you'll be annoyed. That's that's how everybody's felt since the beginning of football. When you're 2-0 up and you lose, Everyone does.
Been there before. Second to last game of the season, 2-0 down, drew 2-2. Was I disappointed? Yeah. Did I panic? No. Went to the next game, Aston Villa at home, 2-0 down. Did we have a meltdown? No. 20 minutes later, winning 3-2, won the Premier League. So it is what it is. You know, we keep moving in the right direction. We're all calm. I do a lot of shows on my channel with City fans. There is the odd young one that gets a bit mad, and we have to say, look, just relax, man, relax. It is what it is. It's written in the stars. And yeah, the Arsenal fans, some of them will fight against each other and will argue, but you're going to get that. You're going to get that. I told you about the Emirates outside. They tried to say I made it up. It's all on camera. I was the only City fan round there. There was 200 Arsenal fans there. 90% of them, their arse was going because they thought it's over. But look at them now. They bounce back. They're well in the race. We're well in the race. Let the best team win. That's all I'm saying. Let the best team win. Let's go to the wire and let's get it down, and then we'll see. I think both teams could drop points coming up. I do believe that. I think there could be twists and turns. He always is. Only takes one bad referee decision, one injury, someone getting sent off. Things can change like that. But the fact that we're still on the coattails, the fact that we're still in the race, that's where they said we needed to be in the last 10 games, still on the coattails. So as long as we're on the coattails, there's always a chance. And I've never seen as many people rattled about a shark, Terry. Did you see that picture I put on of the Great White and I just put hello? Fucking hell. There's never been as many people rattled by a shark since Jaws 1 when they shut the beach down for the summer and everyone was kicking off because they couldn't sunbathe. That is how bad the Arsenal fans have been this week. So don't worry, that shark's still there. It ain't going away.
This here says there's no infighting, Terry. We're just confused. Well, look, I'll agree to disagree because I've seen Arsenal fans give opinions on multiple channels, and the comments from other Arsenal fans in the comment section are the definition of infighting because they're disagreeing with each other's opinion. Confused. I'd love to know what you mean by you're confused. What are you confused about? D also says here, Arsenal built the gap so can afford to draw at Liverpool. I mean, they can afford to draw as long as they don't lose more points now than what City do in the run-in. George here says, mathematically, we can draw to City and Newcastle away and win the rest of our games. We are winning it. Easier said than done, though. Quite worried as City look absolutely impeccable at the moment. Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, the thing is, though, you're better off mathematically. You're better off losing one of those games and winning the other one.
Yeah,
you got 3 points rather than 2. So you've got to go for those wins because one win in those games is better than your thing. And you never listen.
The thing is, Terry, right? After watching the game, the 2-0 up at Anfield, and they let it slip. So teams now know don't give up because there's a chance you can get it back. If Manchester City go 2-0 up anywhere, can you see anyone getting it back? Can you see Man City letting them off the up and letting that back in?
Not right now. I can't.
That's the difference for me. Manchester City went 3-1 down at Newcastle. What happened? We came back. We got a point. Yeah. If Newcastle go 2-0 down at home to Arsenal, do you think they're going to give up because they think they can't get something? They're going to look at that Liverpool team, which isn't a great Liverpool team, and think, let's do it. We can go at them. And I just think, there's going to be more twists and turns. And I was praying for drop points. We got the drop points. And they've got a week break now to think about it, to watch the video again, to overthink it, to analyze it in the brain. We've just gone out and wiped the floor with Bayern Munich and kept the rhythm going. So these pros and cons of having a game every week and not. Yeah, if we get injuries, they'll say, oh, yeah, Bayern Munich game, whatever. But we didn't. We went out there absolutely brimming with confidence, smashed Bayern Munich, the whole camp's buzzing. And we're keeping ticking over, going into Leicester this weekend, then going to Bayern away, then an FA Cup semi-final, and then Arsenal. So we've got a really good run of games coming up, big games, where when you're on a run, you want them games coming thick and fast, Terry. We want to be every game. We want to be behind the team. We want to see Haaland scoring goals. We want to see this team growing and growing. And when you've just come off a 2-0, when you were 2 up at Liverpool and you've let it slip and you've got to wait for a week, it can get lonely in that week.
I certainly get you there, my friend. This here says Big Steve, legend, blue shark on the hunt. Is what the Mancunian way says here. The normal one says the Premier League now offers nothing but top 4 race. City keep proving being close on points is a delusion. That there is a title race again and again.
Someone said in the comments, Big Steve, did you come back at Anfield? Let me tell you, every season, Liverpool away, Tottenham away, I put them down as losses. They write them off. All City fans do. We never win at Anfield. We never win at Tottenham. So you can this is when you know they're rattled, because they're saying, well, you didn't get a point at Arsenal, at Anfield. Well, you didn't do this. No, but we went to the Emirates and beat you 3-1. So don't worry about what we're doing. You know, we went and done you on your turf in front of your fans, Ashburton Army and all that bollocks. We went there and done you. So you got to come to us and do us now. So if you want to win this league, make sure you turn up at the Etihad on the 26th and bring it, because you didn't bring it at home. We dealt with you, and we'll deal with you again.
There we go. Just to the super chat, I was going to say that there is a title race. What you're confusing is City just come out on top. When Man United and Arsenal went through their title races, Man United came out on top. Between 2005 and 2009, the only two teams to win the league were Man United and Chelsea. But Man United then started to dominate that. And from 2007 up until 2013, City won one league title in that time. And City won, I think Chelsea won a couple. Man United won the majority. You know, City, there is title races. City have just been better than Liverpool. And if they beat Arsenal this year, they're just better than Arsenal. That doesn't mean there hasn't been a race. That doesn't mean they haven't been pushed the whole way. I think only like the Centurions year, you won it at a canter. But every other year, they've been in a race. So there is a title race. It's just that City have been better than everybody else. And people have got, in my opinion, learn to accept that. This here says, looks like Chelsea will have their Glazer era soon. They may. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen now? They need to get this managerial appointment right, as I say, because it's crazy what's going on there right now. Do you think? So, who do you think's better, Chelsea, Enrique or Nagelsmann? Who'd you go with, Steve, if you had to pick for Chelsea?
Probably Enrique, because he's like, you know, if you get it right, it could be really good for him. But Nagelsmann, you know, I don't know. This is what I was saying before, Terry, about who's out there. It's a very limited pool of class managers at the minute. And I just think it's not only on the manager as well. The Chelsea job for a manager looking from outside in, some managers ain't going to want to take it, mate. It looks a mess.
Mate, this is it. I mean, personally, I think Luis Enrique would be great for them. I think Nagelsmann would be a good appointment, but Nagelsmann's a risk. Nagelsmann is a bigger risk, in my opinion, than Luis Enrique. But they're both a risk if all the rumors are true that Todd Bowley's too involved. If Todd Bowley's helping to pick squads and saying who managers can and can't play, if any of that is true, it's hugely detrimental to the future of Chelsea Football Club. It just absolutely is. Clinton here says, I will always take my chances against an informed City at the Etihad compared to an out-of-form Liverpool at Anfield. Not many champions in the Premier League era won at Anfield during their title run. So essentially that's saying that this Gooner thinks it's slightly easier to beat you in your best form at Etihad than to beat Liverpool at Anfield. Would you agree with that?
Should be a walk in the park then, shouldn't it?
Slightly easier, I think he means. Dee's back again and says, Big Steve, why is the pressure on Arsenal and not City?
Nah, the pressure's on both. 50-50. That's what I said. 50-50. You guys are feeling it. We're feeling it. If you lose, it's on. If we lose, it's on. So it's literally 50-50. The pressure's massive on both. But all I'm saying is I've been there. You haven't yet. You know, some of your old boys have, but these younger ones haven't. That's why you're talking about £1 billion squads, sharks, you know, getting killed, sushi, you know, we've got more fans than you, all that nonsense. That's when all that shit comes out, when, you know, a fan base's arses fell out. I'm calm, composed, and you don't like it. You think it's arrogance, but it's not, it's confidence, because I'm confident in what my team's going to do. You're not that confident in what your team's going to do after weekend. That's the difference. Some of us are winners, and some of us are losers. Depends which one you're going to end up in May.
Debbie here says, Terry, what would you do if City win the treble? Probably cry. Not really, not literally, but it would hurt. It would be very, very painful. And that's the point. Arsenal winning the league, I can take the insufferable nature of it. Great. I cannot.
Let me just address that one in there. Tracy says, no, you haven't been there, Steve. Man City's been there. Well, let me tell you, I only missed one game last season. Home and away, Europe, pre-season. So let me tell you, I have been there. I've been there every game, lived, breathed it. This season, I've missed 2 games. lived and breathed it. So don't say Big Steve hasn't been there, because Big Steve's lived it. Driving up and down the motorway, Southampton weekend, 5 hours, you know, flying to Germany on Monday. You know what I mean? Munich away.
Nah,
Been there, trust me.
nah, you're just in your bedroom in front of a green screen, Steve.
Exactly.
Steve,
But you don't feel it. You don't feel it when you're there. You know what I mean? You're not living and breathing it. You're not involved. Working for Man City on match day, pitch side. Not been there though.
Yeah, mate. Listen, I know you've been there and you're leaving it and you're breathing it. And if you win a treble, as per this super chat, it's going to hurt like hell, which is why I cannot for the life of me fathom why watching City do it is more fun to banter Arsenal for not winning than somebody potentially matching the maybe the biggest piece of history in your club's history. I don't want no one matching it. I want to be the only one. My whole adult life, we have had that treble. It will be slightly diluted if somebody else have it, only slightly diluted, because you're no longer unique in that. And I know what the media will say. Well, City got more points, and maybe City this, City that, and what they've won in the league. The media will crown City the greatest team in English football history. And at the moment, I don't want that to happen. So that'll be hell on earth for any real United fan. Big Steve, do you think if you go all the way to the Champions League, that would reflect on your league forms? Do you think that would damage your league form, Steve?
Well, we've been late in this competition a few times, got all the way to the semi-final and the final, still won the league. So God knows, you know, it might be a tough decision for Pep if he has to. But saying that, I think we play last game of the season, then it's the FA Cup final, and it's the Champions League final. So it literally rolls on after each other. So there's a long way to go yet. There's a long way to go. I'm just happy I'm there. I think the club's happy it's there. And, you know, we're still involved. You've got to be happy with that.
The mentality. Have you come across a City fan called Hamza? He's a TikToker. He's a Mali boy. Have you ever come across him? He's got he has a saying for why you're going to make it. It's about mentality, right? Like KLOPP had mentality monsters. He says that you guys have got mentality championship heritage. That's what he calls it.
Listen, you know what? When we look back at Man City in a few years, they'll respect it of what Man City's achieved, what Pep Guardiola's achieved, the Centurions, and winning all domestic trophies and things like that. At the minute, they don't. They like to banter it, but you can't ignore it. You can't ignore it. You know, we didn't just go last night and slap some bums up in a Europa League tie. Just on Bayern Munich. All I've heard all week is how Bayern Munich's going to do this, and you can't do this to Bayern Munich, and you can't do that. Bayern Munich had more possession than us last night. Means nothing. We let them have the ball, but they couldn't do anything with it. But when we had the ball, we dealt with it. And we could have scored 6 last night. But we're going to Germany next week. 3-0 lead. Great position to be in. Happy. Blue side of Manchester's happy, Terry, right now.
I bet it is, mate. I bet it is. It's inevitable that City wins this title, and the next is what the normal one says. It may very well be. It may very well be. This here is from David, one of our members, says the FA Cup's United this year. Arsenal, hopefully the Prem, and still praying Bayern do something. Yeah, I think we can pray. You can keep praying long and hard, but there's no way Bayern Munich are beating City 4-0. Maybe 3-0 and no, not happening. There's no way that they're coming back in this game for me.
I can't. If they come to, they've got to come at us. Yeah, 1,000,000%. Are we not going to score the way we're playing? Can you see it? Can you see them throwing the kitchen sink at us and us not catching them out?
Yeah, no 110%. I can't see that happening. One from earlier, Martin says staying with KLOPP is also a gamble.
Yeah, sometimes it's better to be. I don't know. Listen, I'm not going to disrespect Liverpool fans. All I can say is trust your own intuition. If you're a big Liverpool fan and you're not feeling it, then it's time for the change. Then go for the change. If not, you know, like I say, who's out there? Who's out there?
John here is a City fan. Says, Big Steve, would you let Haaland get with your missus if it meant we win the treble? No brainer for me. He can have mine. Big up the lad big up the lad, the City.
He can have mine anyway without winning the treble if he wants. So, but I don't think he'll want us. So, yeah. So it is what it is.
Yeah, she's not in the room, is she, mate? She's not around. You get slapped.
Nah, she's not, man. I can't listen. My missus lets me go home and away watching Man City, and doesn't give me an ounce of earache. So, them women are hard to find. Trust me. I've got friends of mine that can't even go to the shop without getting grief. So,
mate,
it's a diamond.
It's a rarity to have a lady in your life who lets you live your life. It's a genuine rarity. But ironically, you're still with her, right?
Yeah.
That's why. And there's so many people break up now, and it's like both men are as bad, by the way. Like try and control each other and not let each other do things. It's very weird. But there we go. If City win the treble, will it be more impressive than Man United's treble since the Champions League was shorter in 2099?
Listen, a treble's a treble. Man United were the first to do it. You got to respect it. You'll never ever take away what Man United did. You'll never ever take away the Man United fans' memories about doing the treble. And if we ever did anything like that, you'd never take away my memories and our memories. And it's at the end of the day, it is what it is. You know, if you do it, you're going to remember it and love it. And I don't think something like that can't be better or worse than someone that's done it before. I just think it's like you've done it.
Yeah. And I think for me, we were talking about this yesterday, but this is another one of those things where we're comparing eras again rather than what we won. So you could argue and say, well, say the argument gets decided as, City's is harder, therefore better. Well, how much harder was it to win a treble in Man United's era, including the Champions League, when the great Liverpool teams and teams of that era before that, there wasn't even group stages. It was 3 knockout rounds and you were the champions. So if we're going to apply that logic to downplay Man United, we have to downplay that logic right the way back. That then means that 5 of Real Madrid's Champions Leagues are almost meaningless because it was so much easier to win it in the 50s, in the 60s than it is now. Therefore, one today is worth 2 or 3 of the 50s and 60s. That logic just doesn't work for me personally. Also, back when it was shorter, Man United had a world-class Bayern Munich and Barca in their group. So the group stage, that's not a dig at City now, but group stages now for proper teams is easy. It's easy, generally speaking. So, you can't compare the eras. You compare, like, in terms of like for like, you have to compare it on the achievements. And it won't take nothing away from Man United if they do it. The only thing it does in terms of diluting it is you're not the only one to have it. So there's like a uniqueness to that achievement that, this is why Arsenal fans celebrate every year when a big team loses a game who might be winning the title, because they don't want to share the invincible crown with anybody. It makes sense. It wouldn't shock me at all if City advance. That's fair from City all the way. Oh, look, anything can happen in football. Anything can happen in football here. Maradon the moron says Terry waffling again after sleeping on it. But again, you say it's waffle. But again, you are Maradon the moron. You're very quick to downplay Man United's achievements. But then if I use the same logic to downplay achievements that came before us, you say I'm waffling. That's just why everyone calls you a moron, bro, because it's moronic. Big Steve, your top 5 most favorite City players.
Georgie King-Cladze, Vincent Kompany, Yaya Toure, David Silva, Kun Aguero.
It's a good list. I'll name you my 5 because I do have some favorites. I think this guy should be in the GOAT conversations. Aguero's there. KDB is in the top 5 central midfielders in Premier League history. I think David Silva's in there, one of the greatest number 10s the league's ever seen. Aguero, as you've already mentioned, one of the GOAT conversations he's in. Well, you mentioned him once. And
Yaya Toure.
Yaya's in there. Vincent Kompany for me. I put Vincent Kompany above Virgil van Dijk as an example. I think his peak weren't as good, but the longevity, he won more barring the Champions League. He's again one of the great centre backs of this league as well. Again, there's some oldies like Kincladze was great. I did used to like Niall Quinn actually. I liked Niall Quinn for some reason. I liked him when he was good. Do you know who came through your academy? I think he's an estate agent now. I thought he was going to be a baller. Is it Michael Johnson? Was that his name?
Yeah, he was, but he had a lot of mental health problems and he went off the rails. He was classy, mate. He was going to Liverpool, apparently, under Sven, but he lost it. Paul Lake was the one who got a cruciate injury back in the day and City mismanaged him and his career got thrown away. There's been some good players back in the day for all different reasons and that, but
I tell you who had one midfielder you had in the early years of the Sheikh's takeover. I hated him, but that's because he was so good. With Nigel de Jong, he was such a powerhouse in the middle. I remember when he broke what's his name, Ben Arthur's leg with a clean tackle, and I looked at it thinking I would not want to play football against him. He's just an absolute animal.
We needed him, man. We needed him at the time. He was aggressive and that. He was powerful. De Jong, he was great playing Nigel de Jong.
Yeah, I mean, players like him wouldn't last in today's game because the rule change, he gets sent off like 4 or 5 times a season. But in that era he was in, just needed. Yeah, he was a quality player. He really, really was. He really, really was. Viewers, do us a big favor and smash the like button. Steve wants to say a big thank you for coming on the show again today.
No problem.
Guys, make sure bell notifications are turned on. We're live tonight after Real Madrid versus Chelsea for the live match reaction. So please join us on there. But we'll be back same time next week. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again